was the next amendment? Mr. Gingrey?
Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk, I think number 19.
Without objection, the amendment will be considered as read, and the gentleman from Georgia is recognized for 2 minutes in support of his amendment.
Mr. Chairman, I thank you, and I'm, of course, very disappointed that the two amendments that we just voted on did not pass, that being Mr. Whitfield and Dr. Burgess. I think they're both very important amendments, and I can assure you, as a physician member of the committee, Dr. Burgess certainly knows of what he speaks in regards to the effects that it's going to have on the provision of care. And I think Mr. Pallone talked about that this is not the place for the bill, that what we're concerned here is getting more people access to care. Well, they're darn sure not going to have access to care if all the physicians drop out of Medicare. Maybe they go to witch doctors. I'm really not sure. But my amendment, Mr. Chairman, is a very simple, straightforward, and it's one that has certainly been contingent in the past on passage of other legislation, because it is simply a one-year fix. It holds the doctors harmless and frees the reimbursement rate at 2009 levels for 2010. No updates, no increase whatsoever. It just simply freezes them at 2009 levels. And we don't need, once again, Mr. Chairman, to wait till the last minute to do that, as we've done over the last several years. So, I think this is pretty simple, straightforward. The least costly precedent has certainly been set for 1 year fixes in the past, a small Band-Aid, and I commend this amendment to my colleagues. Hope all on both sides of the aisle will support it. Doctors are counting on it. I yield back.
You yield to, would you yield to me?
I'll yield to Mr. Walden if I have time left.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. When you look at all the other things that we're spending money on in this bill, including $200 million for the National Mall, including reseeding, I can think of a few things that are more important in my district than making sure seniors have access to health care, which they're now finding very problematic to get access because of this underlying SGR issue. And this Congress needs to step up and fix it. It would have been best done in the last two amendments, but certainly this is our last great hope. But this is about health care for seniors.
Gentleman yields back the balance of his time. The chair recognizes himself. I again reluctantly oppose this amendment. These amendments are being offered to show how we need to do more in the area of physician fee reimbursement under Medicare. It's an issue that we all can support, but unfortunately this is not the bill where we can support it. We'll have to do it in legislation later this year. And I regret that doctors have been pushed into the perils of Pauline each year, wondering whether they're going to fall off a cliff and have an automatic reduction in their reimbursement rates, which is, by the way, one of the reasons I voted against the Balanced Budget Act, which had projected cuts in Medicare that I knew were unsustainable. We have a very difficult job now to figure out how to get a permanent fix for the physician fee reimbursement. Somebody said it's going to cost $400 billion. That's a lot of money, even in the context of the way we're talking about money for bailouts and stimulus and everything else. But we're going to have to figure out a way to do it, but not in this bill.
Mr. Chairman, if you would yield to me for just a second.
Yes, I will yield to
With
you.
all due respect, Mr. Chairman, why not this bill? If not this bill, what bill? I mean, how is this different from any other fix that we've done in the past where it's tacked on at the last minute to some other vehicle, if you will, some other legislation? If not now, when? And why not now?
If not now, when? And if not us, who? Is the way the expression goes. And I sympathize with the statement, but this bill, which has been offered at the urging of the President of the United States and supported by the leaders in the House and the Senate, has certain constraints on it in the amount of money that they've allocated for us to spend for a stimulus purpose, and they want that bill passed as quickly as possible. So we will have to do it in another piece of legislation. My time has expired. We'll proceed to a vote. As I understand it, the gentleman is willing to have a vote with a show of hands. Is that correct? All those in favor of the amendment will please raise your hand, and the clerk will count. All members that want to vote, be sure to be in the room.
Put your hand up. It shouldn't take that long to count the Republicans.
Have we completed the count of those in favor of the amendment? All those opposed to the amendment, please raise your hand.
I can see that takes a while.
Clerk will report the tally.
On that vote, there were 13 ayes and 27 noes.
13 ayes and 27 noes. The amendment is not agreed to.